So today we are in Joshua 22. And in the 22nd chapter of Joshua, we're going to share an interesting experience. That this is Bible history, by the way, meaning that this happened in real time and in real space to real people. And so I want to talk to you about something that happens that's reported to us here in His Word, but it actually happened. This is not just a story about our faith. This is something that happened on a date and time in history. And this particular thing that happened, we talk about Christians being persecuted. You know what a really horrible thing is when Christians persecute Christians. Boy, that happens all the time. We sometimes are very nice people. We can be very mean people. And we can easily misunderstand and easily judge. And we miscommunicate and jump to conclusions. We misspeak and we do all kinds of crazy things to each other. And here, all these victories, victory after victory after victory. Joshua and the people and they're at the very end. They've experienced all this victory. And they're going to go back now, some of them, because the victories have been won. So they're starting to return to the land that has already been conquered. And so the tribes are going to go back across the river and the land that was set apart for them. And something really odd is going to happen. Can you imagine something odd happening among believers? Of course it does. We're not a peculiar people for no reason at all. But listen to Joshua 22. I'll explain a little bit as I'm reading along. It's a lot of verses, but praise the Lord, there are no difficult names to pronounce. Praise the Lord. Then Joshua summoned the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and he said to them, "You have kept all that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and have listened to my voice in all that I have commanded you." Hey, good news is coming, right? "You have not forsaken your brothers these many days to this day, but you have kept the charge of the commandment of the Lord your God." These tribes, these Reubenites, Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, they had fought for all of the others and helped them even after their land was already won. They continued to march on with the armies for years to finish up the work of taking the land. And now the war, or the battle, the fight, is over at this time, and they get to return. And so they have been obedient, and this is kind of a good news thing that Joshua says to them. He says, "You have not forsaken your brothers these many days to this day, but you kept the charge of the commandment of the Lord your God. You fought well. And now the Lord your God has given rest to your brothers, as he spoke to them, therefore. Now turn now and go to your tents, to the land of your possession, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you beyond the Jordan. Only be very careful to observe the commandment and the law which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, to love the Lord your God and walk in all his ways and keep his commandments and hold fast to him and serve him with all your heart and with all your soul." That just sounds like good advice in general, doesn't it? But this is what Joshua says to him. "Thank you so much for helping all of us, and now you can go back to your blessing." And so Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents. Now to the half-tribe of Manasseh, Moses had given a possession of Bashan, and to the other half, Joshua gave a possession among their brothers westward beyond the Jordan. And so when Joshua sent them away to the tents, he blessed them and said to them, "Hey, return to your tents. The great riches and with very much livestock, silver, gold, bronze, iron, with very many clothes. Divide the spoil of your enemies with your brothers." The sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad, the half-tribe of Manasseh, returned home, departed from the sons of Israel at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the land of Gilead, to the land of their possession, which they had possessed according to the command of the Lord through Moses. Well, when it came to the region of the Jordan, which is the land of Canaan, the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, couldn't they have just said they? Okay, never mind. okay, built an altar there by the Jordan, a large altar in appearance. So they go back, and they're feeling in a celebratory mood and all unified and everything, so they build an altar, a memorial, a monument. And the sons of Israel heard it said. I'm going to go back to that a little later on in the sermon. They heard something. Hey, have you heard something? They heard it said. Well, we've heard stuff said, haven't we? Man, I've heard a whole bunch of stuff. I don't believe hardly any of it anymore. But I hear stuff all the time. Do you hear stuff? Can you imagine if you were to try and sort out into two different potatoes the stuff you've heard that really was true and the stuff you haven't heard true? I think I've heard more stuff that isn't true than I've heard stuff that is true. I'm serious. Or half-truths, which are even more dangerous. They built an altar by the Jordan, a large altar in appearance. And the sons of Israel heard it. They said, behold, the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh have built an altar at the frontier of the land of Canaan, in the region of the Jordan, on the side belonging to the sons of Israel. And when the sons of Israel heard of it, boy, this sounds like trouble already, doesn't it? The sons of Israel heard of it, the whole congregation got everybody whipped up. Isn't that fun? Don't you love drama? Let's just get everybody all whipped up, right? So belonging to the sons of Israel, when the sons of Israel heard of it, the whole congregation of the sons of Israel gathered themselves at Shiloh to pray and to find out what this meant. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just reading scripture, aren't I? For those of you that have read ahead, they gathered themselves at Shiloh to go up against them in war. On the basis of what? On the basis of something what? That they had heard. Then the sons of Israel sent to the sons of Reuben, and to the sons of Gad, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, and to the land of Gilead, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, and with him 10 chiefs, 1 chief for each father's household, from each of the tribes of Israel, and each of them was the head of the father's household among the thousands of Israel. They came to the sons of Reuben and Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, on the land of, to the land of Gilead, and they spoke with them. Before they start lobbing, rocks and spears and whatever else, right? Then they come over to talk. And that's what they say in 16. It says, thus says the whole congregation of the Lord. Well, it doesn't look like they're trying to have a discussion at this point to me. Because this is what everybody says. Because this is what everybody's heard. So whatever everybody's heard, man, this is what everybody's saying. Wait, I haven't heard the word truth in here yet, have you? Just talk. And talk is what? Oh, is it ever? It's getting cheaper. What is this unfaithful act? But why even say anything? You're already telling them it's an unfaithful act. Is there any defense? What is this thing you have done? What is this unfaithful act which you have committed against the God of Israel, turning away from the following of the Lord this day by building yourselves an altar to rebel against the Lord this day? Is that why they built the altar? Sounds like somebody jumped to a conclusion, didn't they? And now, it's not enough here. Now that we're going to go and just talk about all the ugly things from the past. So we've jumped to a conclusion here about what is going on in the building of this altar or memorial. So now we're going to say, it's kind of a loaded question. Is not the iniquity of Peor enough for us? Oh my God, I don't even want to go to you. What a god-awful person that was. And situation that was. Wasn't that enough for us? The horrible thing that happened before, now you're doing this, from which we have not cleansed ourselves to this day. Although a plague came upon the congregation of the Lord, and said, well, what you're doing now is going to bring a plague on us, right? That you turn away this day from following the Lord. If you rebel against the Lord today, He will be angry with the whole congregation. He's not just going to be angry at you, He's going to be angry at all of us, and we're all going to suffer. If, however, the land of your possession is unclean, then cross into the land of the possession of the Lord, where the Lord's tabernacle stands, and take possession among us. Only do not rebel against the Lord or rebel against us by building an altar for yourselves, besides the altar of the Lord our God, which is the only one true altar and the only one true church and the only place you can really find God, ever in any way, shape, or form, is our way, or the highway. And evidently you've chosen the highway. Can you just feel the rhetoric? Can you feel it just kind of building up? This accusatory kind of a tone? And it's not enough to invoke the memory of the iniquity of Peor. Then he's going to bring up one that we know more about. He said, did not Achan, the son of Zerah, act unfaithfully in the things under the ban? Now that you've done something you shouldn't have done, don't you know another story about somebody that did something they shouldn't have done and what trouble that brought on? A wrath from all the congregation of Israel? And that man did not perish alone in his iniquity. His whole family ended up dying. There was a lot of trouble for everybody. We barely recovered from that. Haven't even recovered from the other guy. No, it's terrible. Just terrible. Freaks me out that this happened. And then the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh answered and spoke to the heads of the family of Israel. I'm surprised they could stay quiet long enough with all of this stuff. I mean, somewhere along halfway through that last paragraph, I was thinking somebody was going to say, hey, hold on just a second. Let me tell you what really happened. We're already prepared for war. The sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh answered. They spoke to the heads of the families of Israel. And first of all, they're going to make it carefully understood who they stand for and what it's about. The mighty one, God, the Lord. The mighty one, God, the Lord. So they start evoking the name of the Lord, right? He said, He knows, God knows what we were doing. He knows, and may Israel itself know. If it was in rebellion, or if an unfaithful act against the Lord, do not say to say, then kill us if we've done something that's so terrible, right? If we have built an altar to turn away from following the Lord, or to offer a burnt offering or a grain offering on it, or to offer sacrifices and peace offerings on it, may the Lord himself require it that you kill us this day. But truly, we have done this out of concern, for a reason, saying, now they explain why it says, in time to come, your sons may say to our sons, what have you to do with the Lord and the God of Israel? Because you're over there and we're over here. For the Lord has made the Jordan a border between us and you. The sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, have no portion in the Lord. And so your sons may take our sons and stop fearing the Lord. Therefore we said, well, let's build an altar, not for burnt offering or sacrifice, not to try and replace our religion or our oneness with you and the mighty God, the one true God, right? Rather, it's a witness between us and you, a witness between us and you, and between our generations after us, that we are to perform the service of the Lord before him with our burnt offerings, our sacrifice, our peace offerings, so that your sons will not say to our sons in the time to come, you have no portion in the Lord. Therefore we said, it shall come about that if we say this to our generations time coming, we'll say, see the copy of the altar? We're not trying to replace the altar, just a memorial. Copy of the altar of the Lord which our fathers made, not for burnt offering or for sacrifice, but it's a witness between us. Far be it from us that we should rebel against the Lord and turn away from following the Lord this day by building an altar for burnt offering or grain offering or sacrifice, besides the altar of the Lord our God, which is before his tabernacle. So when Phinehas the priest and the leaders of the congregation, even the heads of the families of Israel, who with them heard the words which the sons of Reuben and Gad and the sons of Manasseh spoke, it pleased them. Oh, how embarrassing. So nobody said what? Oops. Sorry. Oh, our bad. We were going to come kill you all today because we thought you were doing something, but we didn't really know what you were doing, and we didn't really ask, we didn't really wait for an answer. We just jumped to a conclusion, and so this is what happened. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, said to the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, and the sons of Manasseh, "Today we know that the Lord is in our midst, because you have not committed this unfaithful act against the Lord. Now you have delivered the sons of Israel from the hand of the Lord." Interesting comment there, isn't that? Is that what they really did? Have you delivered the sons of Israel from the hand of the Lord? No, you finally understanding the truth is what delivered us all from trouble. Then Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, and the priests and the leaders returned from the sons of Reuben, from the sons of Gad, and the land of Gilead, and the land of Canaan, to the sons of Israel, and brought back the word to them. And the word pleased the sons of Israel. Of course it did. You mean we don't have to go to war? There's no reason, really, to fight. It was just a big, giant, what? Misunderstanding. But there are reasons why, among believers and brothers and sisters, these misunderstandings happen. From the land of Gilead, the land of Canaan, sons of Israel, and brought back word to them. The word pleased the sons of Israel, and the sons of Israel blessed God. They did not speak of going up against them in war to destroy the land, with the sons of Reuben, the sons of Gad, were living. Sons of Reuben, sons of Gad, called the altar witness. They didn't call it new religion or new denomination, new church. They called the altar witness, which is all they really erected it for in the first place. For, they said, it's a witness between us that the Lord is God, that there is one God, and He is the mighty one, the one we have always believed in. Can I tell you partly about why this troubled me so much? I know that almost everybody in the room, I'm sure, has been falsely accused. I'm sure that many of you have had charges that have been brought against you, whether legal or gossip, that were just totally unfounded. That can really hurt and really destroy you. Can you imagine this, though? Here are these 2.5 tribes. And they just fought for years, side by side with these people, to help them win their land back. And they get back and they start to do some constructing and build something and all. And it's like they completely forgot what their unity and what they were all about. Something happens, and all of a sudden, everybody's off on a tangent, causing trouble. And it all started because somebody heard something. Man, isn't that how it starts? Now, I'm here to tell you today that hearing stuff is where we have the power. It's like gossip, right? If we stop listening to it, you could kill it. Can I tell you this, though? I also think we ought to stop saying it. And you say, well, I don't spread it. If you hear it, you spread it. Because you receive it. We need to nip the nonsense in the bud. Stop listening. Do a little research. Ask a few questions. And Lord, help us. Go to prayer. And ask God, what is this thing? Lord, you know that we just had all these victories and everything, and now they're building it. Lord, reveal to us, Lord. Would not the Lord have spoken to those people and said, well, go and tell them? Now, mind you, part of this is on the 2.5 tribes. It really is. A little bit of it is on them. They could have communicated, right? They could have said something, and that probably would have caused, could have shut down a lot of trouble and not caused so much trouble. Well, let's go back there and point number 1 and kind of build this up for just a really important thing that we can apply to our lives today. So it starts out with Joshua really encouraging them. Boy, this this sure went south in a big hurry, or let's see, east in a big hurry, right? Joshua encouraged the returning tribes by doing several things. He commended them for keeping their promise. And then he relieved them from their commitment. You don't have to fight with us anymore, right? Or for us anymore. Commissioning them to keep obeying and worshiping and serving like they're the wonderful people that they're trying to be. And then blessing them to be a continued blessing. And he goes over this a couple of times and says things like this to them. Very, very positive kinds of things. Thank you for serving the Lord like you did. And take all this stuff with you and be blessed and go and prosper. And it's wonderful. He's already having a feeling like, well, you're going to be kind of over there, we're going to be over here, but be blessed and we'll stay in touch. And Zelia goes and says, man, we miss this. And even though we can only go and do our sacrifices and so on, we want to put something that's closer to us so we can just keep remembering. Three things went wrong after this big blessing came. And it's the way that things always seem to go wrong. Now it's time to fill in the blanks, all right? There are things that go wrong. And this is how things go wrong. Every business conference I've ever been to, every leadership forum that I've ever participated in, every training module I've ever been to, everything like that, it's always this, somewhere near the top of the list. This is what goes wrong, the way that things seem to go wrong. There's a lack of communication. Oh man, how many times have we said it? Here in our own church body, I mean, here in our own families and all. There's a lack of communication. Somebody didn't talk about it. And it's two ways, a lack of communication. Somebody didn't explain, first of all, what are you up to, and somebody else, before jumping to conclusions, didn't ask them questions. There's just a lack of communication. Once you start to communicate, you find out, oh, I see. This isn't such a big deal after all. And doesn't have to be. But in this day and time, and particularly in this culture, man, it is dukes up and we're ready to run. At anything. You ever have one of those weeks where you're praying for a legitimate road rage opportunity? A lack of communication. A lack of communication. Here's the second thing that happens. Not only is it a lack of communication, which just creates this second thing. Because when there's a lack of communication, there's a lack of information, right? So then there ends up to fill that gap of a lack of information, there ends up being erroneous information. So there's a lack of information. We don't really know what's going on. And so instead of asking questions, you're trying to get to the bottom of it, or talking to somebody. And can you imagine talking to somebody face to face in today's age? Are you kidding me? When I can do this on social media, or I can leave some kind of a message where I don't have to hear your voice. I can just use mine. Or I can just say something out there. So there's a lack of communication, but there's also erroneous information. I'm telling you right now, the enemy loves these two opportunities. When there's a lack of communication, I guarantee you, he starts talking. And when there's not enough information, there's going to be erroneous information, he always throws his two bits into that too. A lack of communication and erroneous information. And off of that comes generalized assumptions. If there is a lack of communication, we're not really talking about problems, whether it's in the family, in the community, at work, in church. If there's a lack of communication and erroneous information, then you can make a whole bunch of generalized assumptions about things. Oh, not only do I not know what or how, now I get to guess why. Without knowing what or when or who or how, then I get to guess why. Then I can assassinate somebody's character on the basis of the fact that I don't really know what's going on. It happens all the time. So in point number 3 here, we learn some important principles. Did you get those 3 things? So lack of communication, erroneous information, and generalized assumptions. That will kill a team faster than anything. We are on the same team, and so were they. So here's the important principles. Don't assume. I don't need to break this down for you, do I? Okay? If you haven't been around long enough to know what don't assume is really about, just break down the word assume. And understand that can do something to you, which is in the middle of the word, and me at the end of the word. What's at the beginning of the word, never mind. Don't assume. Talk about it. Did you see how they assumed, though? They jumped off. By the time they walked over to talk to him, they had talked to one another with their generalized assumptions enough, right? That they had invented and concocted this whole story about how, ooh, this is bad, this is so bad, this is worse than anything that's ever happened before. As a matter of fact, we should, oh man, am I getting hot now? The more we walk together and talk about it, so by the time they weren't ready to listen. I didn't read once that anybody stopped and prayed. They had an altar over there. Shouldn't they have gone and made some sacrifices of some kind before they went and jumped to conclusions? He says, don't assume. Just going to make everybody look bad. Second of all, and this is a hard thing for me. I will admit that this is hard for me to do, is to ask questions. I sometimes avoid asking questions because I'm afraid what I might get for answers. Are you like me in that way? Like, I don't want to ask because I'm afraid, that what I'm assuming might be true, and so therefore I don't want to hear it. But we should ask questions. So if you ask a question of somebody, were you upset or angry in church this morning? Are you okay? Did something happen? Are you all right? Were you upset with somebody? I remember doing this quite a long time ago because I was up preaching, young, worried about every word I said. And there was a fellow over in the back, and during the service, I'm looking back at him, right? And I'm trying to preach to the whole group, make eye contact, be a good communicator, and all of that, keep people's attention, gyrating, and using different voices and tones, and softly and loud, and waking people up, and stuff like that. Okay? So I'm doing like that. I look over at this guy over in the corner, and every once in a while I glance over and he's sitting there going, and I think, can everything I be saying be wrong? So after the church was over, I sheepishly went over and I said to the guy, I'm sorry, guy, is there something that I said or that really bothered or upset you? If I had a word or do something like that? He says, no, why? I said, well, you're over there going like that. He says, I have got gas so bad. Sad, isn't it? Don't assume. Ask questions. But please don't do this. Don't do a foolish thing. If somebody has a face on the door, say, you have gas? He says, no, I don't agree with you. Ask questions. And try to ask privately. I mean, if you're going to ask somebody a question, here's a good way to ask a question. Hey, Gary, I've been meaning to ask you about that crazy thing you did. And I thought I'd wait till the middle of the sermon to sign over to you and just ask in front of everybody. By the way, he didn't do a crazy thing, and it was a long time ago. privately. Here's one I do better at, and this really works well for me. That is to think again. Think again. Do you ever get hot mail? No, I'm not talking about email. No, I mean hot mail. You know, like something that's got like arrows and slings and things like that in it. You have loaded things, if they're not signed. By the way, if you send some really angry, nasty letter to the church office or to me or something, if you don't sign it, I don't even read them. So, if you ever did, I probably don't even know about it. Because unless you sign it, we don't read anonymous letters. It's just a matter of, I actually recommend it. No need to read anonymous letters. But think again about what some things are. Because when I read stuff, I mean, you know, the word knee-jerk has the word jerk in it for a reason. Okay? Because, I mean, I can knee-jerk, so I read something, right? And I go right to the most negative part, and I read it again and again and again and again out of context. Then I go back and I read the whole thing again, and all of a sudden I start realizing what's really going on with the person. Instead of how I feel about it. But think again. What's really going on here? What's this really about? Think again. Another important principle is to communicate. And can you imagine this novel thought? Communicate in person. And how about this for a novel thought? Communicate in person while making eye contact. How about communicate in person while making eye contact, speaking respectfully? How about lots of levels of that and more? Waiting for a response. Did they have to tell a second ugly story? Comparing them to yet another wretched character before they even heard them respond to their first nasty allegory? Communicate. Talk it out. And then, make peace. Make peace. I'll borrow something from John here that he's said to me. Within a few weeks after I got to church here and heard him say it in a group meeting, and has said it a number of times since, and very often at very apropos times. And that is that when you make peace, there's something important about making peace. If you make peace, don't do postmortems. You know what a postmortem is? Is you go back and visit the thing that is supposed to be dead, as if it's going to bring it back to life. Don't do postmortems. Don't dig it up again. Don't have to keep digging stuff up. Did God forgive you? He forgave me. Did He forgive something between you and someone else? If you think of it again, who do you think's reminding you? The Lord? This thing that you gave to me that I died for you on the cross, I just want to bring it up again to you. It's not Him, it's the enemy that brings up this stuff. Make peace and then keep the peace. And let it be. Let it be done. Let it be gone. I've said a lot of things today. Probably brought up a lot of feelings. So I'd like us just to take a moment right now and pray that we would apply these principles in our lives. I'm going to do something totally out of pastoral character. Okay? This worked out very, very well. I picked up my phone. Are you kidding me? I'm actually getting an incoming call. You want me to answer? I actually just wanted to... Oh, let go. I'm not going to answer. Okay. This is direct TV. I just know it is. another number that's very similar to mine. What I wanted to show you actually was the time on the phone. Don't look at the missed call. 11:18. We're early. You know why we're early? For a reason today. Kind of hustled through some things, Lord, in the church service for a reason. I wanted to get to this point so that we could actually pray together. Would you do me this? Yeah, I know, 11:18, huh? Yeah. So let's take and would you just get in some groups of 5 or 6 and let's just pray together at this time.